I've got with me in the studio a labor activist, secretary of the NUT, and a frontline member of the Nigeria Labour Congress. I'd like to thank very especially Comrade Moni Mike Modesty Itwa. You can say M Cube Itwa. Thank you for joining us. It's a delight to have you.
Good morning, Dr. Duke. Good morning, viewers at home. And I want to say a very big thank you for making us have this opportunity of talking this morning.
Thank you. The plight of workers and the average Nigerian has become a major talking point. And would you ascribe this to the policies of the federal government or government generally not working, or we are still suffering from the hangovers of successive government in terms of policy initiative and implementation?
Well, thank you for the question. What I know is that on the 29th of May last year, two major policies came on board. And those two major policies are responsible over 90% for our present national quagmire. Just those two major policies brought the nation to its knees. And what are these policies? The hasty removal of fuel subsidy, as announced on the 29th of May last year, and the floating of the naira. So those two major policies, as prescribed to the political leaders by IMF and World Bank, which they kowtowed to, brought us to where we are today. It is not an easy thing to find ourselves the way we have found ourselves today. And tomorrow is not even sure. That is the truth. They may have been good policies, but were they brought in at the appropriate time? No. For instance, the removal of oil subsidy. The decision to off it was a very bad one. And today we are all living witnesses. NIPC is asking for trillions now for subsidy. And we were told once subsidy gets off the table, everything will be uhuru. Are we even moving closer to anything good, let alone saying uhuru? Reverse. We took 1,000 steps forward and we have taken billion steps backward.
So at what point would you say we took 1,000 steps forward?
Well, to a great extent, when they were busy printing money during the Buhari's administration, printing trillions, when the National Assembly was busy granting ways and means, they were already digging a big pit for the nation. We also now be told that even crude was sold in advance, and that the present government is still battling on how to get back on its own feet to be making new transactions. So even most of the crude they are doing, we are told, they will already be bought ahead. It's like a present government digging a very big pit for an incoming government. But if you will ask me, they are birds of the same feather.
Okay.
They are the same people from the same family doing the same thing, only just rigmaroling about policies and all.
Okay, let me ask you this question. You said that two major policy statements by Mr. President brought us to where we are now.
Yeah.
The issue of subsidy has been on for years. I remember in 2012, President Goodluck Jonathan attempted to remove fuel subsidy, but we saw a lot of reaction. So which means over the years, this has been a thorny issue in terms of the intention of its removal to free up the economy and perhaps bring more money into the polity. So this has always been in the pipeline.
Like I said they may be good policies. The timing is the problem we have.
Just pause for a moment. Let me quickly link up with Dr. Joe Aligbe. He's joining us from Abuja. He's former TUC chairman at the state. Dr. Joe Aligbe, it's a delight to have you join us on the program TMI.
Good morning, Duke, and good morning, viewers. It's nice to be with you again.
Thank you very much. So I'll come back to you in a moment. Just want to welcome you to the show. So you were saying something, comrade. Yeah.
Yes, that the situation as it is,
Yes.
subsidy removal ought to be a good policy if properly planned. Our four refineries, was anyone working as at the time the removal was announced? Do we have our fuel depots all over the federation, like the one in Benin? Or do you have anyone be supplied petrol? Federal government is making use of private farms. NNPC is making use of private dumps. And these dumps are mainly along the Atlantic Ocean lines. Our roads goods, that even the tankers that are loading from Lagos, from Warri, from just along the Atlantic, going to the far north, how many of them really get to their destinations? One of the reasons they used in bamboozling everybody was that our neighboring countries were the ones enjoying the subsidy. As we speak, they are still enjoying it. People deliberately built fuel stations close to the boundaries, massively across the federation. An NNPC or our oil company will supply refined products. And before you know it, through collaboration with our security agencies, most of these trucks, they cross the borders. And they are still crossing as we are talking.
Okay, let me.
They are still crossing.
Let me pause you there. Dr. Joe, thank you again for joining us on the program. Share your thought with us on the state of the nation as it relates to policies, initiatives, and the plight of Nigerians. Comrade Mike just told us that the policy statement by Mr. President on May 29 is what we are suffering today. But there are those who feel that these challenges have been there. Perhaps even if it wasn't Tinubu that got the nod to lead Nigeria, another president came on board, this decision still would have been taken. Maybe Nigeria state would be where it is today in terms of the hard and harsh economic realities we are facing.
Okay, thank you very much, Duke. I think I cannot but agree with the submission of Comrade Mike Modesty. Well, you see, let me just give you a very good example. You are a father. Will you tell your children that because Nigeria economy is bad, you cannot provide for them? You can't do that as a father, as a responsible father. You can't say that there were problems before you came in as president, that you can't solve our problem. After all, you told us that it is your turn. Don't forget, he said, Emile Locon, it's my turn. And he has constantly said that it is responsibility to face the challenges. So there is no excuse for him or those who are trying to make excuses for him that, oh, they were not his problem. He knew that the problems were there. We knew that the problems were there. Everybody is aware. But the fact is that as a good manager and as a leader, when you come aboard, we expect that you take actions and decisions and policies that will help to ameliorate the problem. A very quick one. It is true that he never created the problem, as it were. But his policy on coming on board, just two policies, those two policies, aggravated the already bad situations. What were those policies? Number one is the fuel subsidy removal. Two, the floating of the naira. But these are twin evil that any government must deal with in the risk sense of it. But in dealing with it, you must ensure that there are safety nets, there are palliatives, so to say, things that will cushion the effect or that will remove the shock. Now, you do not have refineries that are working. You do not have local refinery of your product. And you just remove fuel subsidy like that. You talk of CNG buses. Where are the buses? Duke, if I may ask you, have you seen the buses? Are they working? Are they not supposed to be put in place before the fuel subsidy removal? And if you look also at the floating of the naira, No government in this world. I have read books. I have seen nations at work. No government will allow its currency to flow, to be dictated by the market forces. There must be a regulation. And I think the problem we have is the inability of government to deal with corruption. Deal with corruption and ensure that you jealously guide the value of your currency, not to allow it to be dictated by the demand of market forces. And again, sir, you will also agree with me that when you are taking such decision, you must look at the socioeconomic dynamics around you, around your country. Don't forget, we had COVID in 2020. Thereafter COVID, we had flood. After flood, we have series of insecurity that people cannot go to farm. Coupled with the fact that given the ECOWAS protocol, Nigeria is open to the West African markets. So when you float your Naira, the question you ask yourself, what will be the response of your neighbors in terms of your markets? And that is why they come with trailer loads to buy our food. And Nigerian farmers or businessmen, as it were, will not hesitate to take their food outside the border, because the value of the currency of a neighboring country is far higher and better than that of Nigeria. So if you just go across the border, you earn more money. So why will businessmen not do that? Given the fact that Nigeria is an open market in view of the ECOWAS protocol. So I think for any government to come in place and take decisions to address the true problem of fuel subsidy, an issue of our value of our Naira, you must look at what will be the consequences of your action. And I think those taking decisions or those advising government didn't look at these factors very well. Or if they have looked at it, they didn't provide enough safety net to ensure that the hunger, the poverty, and the backlash that we are having from the citizen is not there. Otherwise, if government have taken some measures to cushion what the effect will be, I don't think the hunger, the poverty, the frustration that we are facing today will not be there.
Thank you, Dr. Aligbe. I'll come back to you in a moment. As part of the safety nets on the part of the federal government, we're seeing palliatives. That's when palliatives came. That's when we started having palliatives. We've also seen federal government claiming to have, made substantial, supplies and contributions and deployment to states to ameliorate the plights of the masses. What do you make of these as strategic measures to dampen or to reduce the impact of this economic hardship? Are states living up to expectations?
When the federal government started the issue of palliatives, have you also forgotten that the same federal government went to the electricity sector to to allow electricity tariff increase by banding all the groups into different, banding everybody to different groups? Group A, Group B, Group C. Are you aware that that decision alone is yet another troublesome decision that has rendered many manufacturing sectors into troubles? Are you aware that decision alone is affecting a lot of our higher institutions today? And there is a proposal now that students have to be paid 80,000 naira as electricity charge. Are you aware that even the small-scale industries are packing up because of that decision? Now, the manufacturing sector is almost in limbo, so to speak. Are you aware that even those who are manufacturing drugs for us in Nigeria before now have started living to other countries? And the price of paracetamol and others are on the rooftop now. Do you know the number of people that are dying, God forbid, dying on a daily basis? Death is not our portion, but people are dying on a daily basis because of inability to afford basic medicals. Thousands of Nigerians are dying. People can't even have 2 square meals. Let us not even put the word square. People can't even have 2 meals in a day. We're not talking about balanced diet, nothing like that. So the states are part and parcel of the federal government. They are only just subnationals. How many palliative? I'm not saying the spirit of palliative is completely bad, because they found themselves in the total confusion, and they had to think out a way to start making the people feel that we are finding solution. And the more they create the impression they are finding solution, the more they dig us further into the bottomless pit economically. So policy reversal would have been a good thing, but are they ready to go back to their vomit? Are they ready? Even if we are to reverse these policies, how do they mitigate? How will they be able to make things work again? A colleague of mine traveled for Hajj and told me he took paracetamol, and the medicine they gave to him to stop his tummy troubles. Naira equivalent, 200 and something thousand naira. The worth of what he paid in Saudi is about 200 and something for paracetamol and what they gave to him to stop his running stomach. And he told me, he said, my friend, we are dead. I said, we are not dead. God will heal us. We are Nigerians, we pray a lot, and God will answer our prayer. But let me tell you one thing. The state governments you are talking about, they are part and parcel of the central government, so to speak. Central government itself does not really exist. It's just the geographical location called Nigeria that central government seems to be presiding over. It is even the states, in the real sense of it, inverted comma, open and close, that are existing. The central is only a superintending officer, so to speak. So how many bags? Over 200 million population? How many bags of rice will you bring? And let me also tell you, most of these bags of rice are also being imported. Now, food security is the biggest problem. Our farmers can't go to farm because of insecurity. The big farmers are no longer farming too because of invasion by different kind of unknown men and invisible men, killing people in the bush. Even in our locality here, how many people are still going to the bush? I used to know that most people from some certain part of South, from some part of the South, used to come over here for plantain farming and all that. How many of them are going into the bush now? How much is a bag of gari? Even the small tin cup of gari, how much is it? Do you know how much they sell a tin cup of beans? So the situation is terribly bad. And there is no solution in sight. If they let government spend trillions in subsidy, a family of 5, a worker who is earning 30,000 minimum wage, has to train the children. Even access to drinking water you don't even have, you have to pay to have it. You have to pay to provide it for yourself. Virtually everything as citizens you are to provide for yourself. Education is no longer accessible financially. So where are we really benefiting in this?
Okay.
The problem didn't start today, but these two major policies worsened it. And now, to have a rating and to have a re-strategization to see how they can get out of it is a problem. And one would have expected by now, political affiliation and others should be dropped. Mr. President should be reaching out to all Nigerians, assembling them, and see how everybody can put us together to get us out of the woods. But I'm not sure that is happening. If they were able to tackle security, because trillions and trillions have been spent on security, and the security situation is getting worsened by the day. No help is coming from anywhere. Students going to Enugu were kidnapped, about 20 of them, medical students, and it took a major effort for them to be able to get back home now, so to speak. If you see the level with which kidnapping, killings are taking place, most of these things are unreported. They are unreported. I wouldn't know whether we have moved to the Somalia trend, because that is what I'm beginning to see.
Okay, let me pause it there quickly, get back to Comrade Joe Aligbe. Joe, we're here right now, and we can see all the challenges What are your thoughts on finding lasting solutions? I mean, I've heard people say that in recent times there's an upsurge in banditry. I know at some point it was at its lowest ebb, but that seems to be coming up. I mean, a few days after the Sokoto emir was kidnapped, that eventually died, we heard 150 people have been kidnapped. In Benue State, where some medical students were, picked up and they've since been released, about 6 people killed. I mean, this is just the stories coming from every nook and cranny. What are your thoughts?
Okay. First, I'm going to address share my thought on 2 issues. Number one, it is said that a hungry man is an angry man. So, what do you do to address the issue of food insecurity? The federal government has come up with a short-term measure, which is a good one anyway, if we're implemented. A 6-month window for food imports. That 6-month window of food imports, to me, is a good one. It should not be extended beyond 6 months. Otherwise, it may be harmful to local producers. But because we must solve the problem of hunger, that window is a good one. But we expect that those who are going to be involved in deportation, the businessmen and women, should follow the policy, the procedure, and ensure they do not cut corners. Or after importing, they do hoarding and begin to create another problem for Nigerians. So we expect government to follow that. But again, to solve the issue of food, you must look at the issue of insecurity, the banditry that is ongoing, the kidnapping, why people cannot go to farm. I think we have paid so much lip service to addressing this issue. We know from the locals, we know that this problem can be solved if there is sincerity of purpose on the part of government and the political elite, including the traditional rulers. Those who are perpetrating this evil, this banditry, this kidnapping, they live amongst us. You will agree with me that not too long ago, in my own hometown where I came from, there was an issue of kidnapping and all that. And a time came, the youth were saying, we can't take it anymore. They have to meet the traditional ruler of the town to say, we can't take it anymore. And we saw some results. Though not totally solved, we saw some results. I think the people should wake up and say, we can't take it anymore. If we begin to say that, I am sure government, living up to its expectation, will be able to curb the issue of insecurity. Again, agriculture, as it were, is on the concurrent list. You don't do farming. Federal government do not do farming in Abuja. Farming is done at the local government level. But because of the local government administration, the nature of the local government administration, the state government is closer to the people. We expect that Nigeria should take advantage of the season of what God has blessed us with. That if we have 2 farming seasons every year, we can effectively address the issue of insecurity, food insecurity. But the 2 must go together. People should be able to go to farm. And those who should go to farm should be encouraged. An issue of comparative advantage of the crops in your area is also a very good one. And it is recommended that state government and local government should be able to encourage and deploy resources to ensure farming. Having said that, issue of policy is very, very important. No matter how you're trying to provide food, try to do your farming, try to fight insecurity, if government policy, ease of doing business, accessibility to funds or loans, if the interest rate is very high, above or 2 digits and above, there is no way farmers can comfortably break even, or the rate of returns on investment would be so comfortable and inviting for people to invest. Government should deliberately, as a matter of policy, ensure that interest rate for farming activity should not be more than 9%. If government is able to do that, I am sure people will be encouraged to go into farming. So we must solve this twin problem: food insecurity, and of course, to stem the tide and arrest the banditry and kidnapping. And we must marry this too with good enabling economic environment, policy that will enable businessmen to invest in agriculture.
Okay, let me pause you there. I'll come back to you on the last lap of this conversation. But comrades, what are your thoughts on finding solutions to these myriad of problems? They are here now. Should we take it from you to, when you said there is no hope in sight in dealing with these issues? Can't we have some quick wins on the short run and maybe some lasting solutions on the long run?
Well, I think the solutions advocated by Dr. Aligbe are in consonance.
Okay.
We saw solutions.
Okay.
But like I said, that there is no end in sight. I mean it. I'm talking from the inside of my soul.
Okay.
There is no end in sight. Well, let me say I'm happy that Mr. President has graciously directed NNPC to supply crude to Dangote and other local refineries. If you see the petroleum sector, which is extraordinarily so opaque, there's no transparency in the petroleum sector. There has never been transparency. Even when you hear that looters are taking away almost 1.5 barrels per day from what ought to be generated into the national computation, who are these looters? Who are they? Are they spirits? That another country will send a vessel, another vessel will come from another country
into your waters,
into the waters of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, get it loaded with crude, sails perfectly well back home. And you tell me that are no internal conspirators? It is the rat inside the house that tells the one outside to say, come on, there is space for you. Until we are able to look at these areas genuinely, because the petroleum sector is in total darkness. It's operated in darkness. There is a cult group, so to speak, a cabal, that has always held this nation to ransom. And they are overstretching our military minds. Our military officers have been overstressed. They are now in the creeks. They are everywhere. That is not to say even when they are still present in the creeks,
these things are not happening.
these things are not still happening. They are still happening. The insecurity is a matter that is nationwide. That's another form of insecurity, so to speak. Another form of insecurity being perpetrated by us. When I say us, even the industry players and the regulators, they're all involved. So you heard not too long ago when the GMD of NNPC was talking that he was not going to talk yet. Until when the time comes, he was going to talk. Tell us what we want to hear. Is that what you are saying? Or should tell us exactly what the situation is? Why are you not wanting to talk? Talk to us. Tell us the situation of things. So that we know whether people are blaming you wrongly or you're on the right path. Tell us. You hear some came from Dangote Group as to how much people are refining our products and bringing them back to us in fear of fear. And nobody is talking about it any longer.
No investigation.
No investigation, nothing. Nobody who is really fooling who? We don't know. High-profile cases. I watched one of the federal government person at the time talking of how they recovered a lot of loots and how such loots found their way back.
And they were relooted.
They were looted. Relooted or sent back to the people that they earlier
Took them from.
refunded from, got from. And nobody is talking about that. So once an issue just comes, it trends for a day. The other day is all over. Nobody is talking about anything. You were in this country during the time of Elijah Muhammad and others where we were being told the federal government has discovered those who were funding terrorism. And the federal government was going to make categorical statement to name and shame them. Till today, have they named anybody? Have they shamed any?
It's business as usual.
It's business as usual. Meanwhile, it's the commoners that are being sacrificed for this. They're the ones who are dying through inability to have access to food, through inability to have access to basic medical needs. They're the ones dying. And unfortunately, they are still the ones who will go and take 1,000, 2,000 to elect these same leaders. So we're all involved. What goes around is coming around. So if you are thinking of the way out of it, well, we are a praying nation.
So continue to pray.
I don't know whether God in his infinite mercy, well, may he have mercy on us and show us the way
Amen.
out of this.
Okay, let's quickly call it a wrap now. Dr. Aligbe, Edo election is just around the corner on the 21st of September. What are your expectations? Yes, Dr. Joe Aligbe, if you're still there, just quickly share with us your expectations on Edo elections.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I look forward to a free, fair, and credible election. And I love Edo State. Edo State is a very dynamic state politically. Edo people, as we normally say in our local parlance, and Edo not the carry last. And I expect also too that the players, the political actors, should please avoid violence. They should avoid violence. I expect that the best candidate will win the election. We do not have the experience. We do not have the capacity. We do not have the wherewithal. They're very wise and they are clear and they know what to do about that. So I appeal to the political parties, particularly the two major parties, the PDP and the APC, to please not hit up the polity. Your campaign should be a campaign of ideas. Tell us your manifesto. Stop calling names when you are going on campaign. It is very clear that Obaseki is not on the ballot. So when people start mentioning the name of the man that is going by November, I feel very worried. They should tell us the issues. They should tell us what they can do, not to tell us about individual. We should stop calling names in our campaign rallies. I think it is not mature to do that. All of us are looking forward to that day. I personally go to my place to vote in my village in Ward 11, Eastern Northeast local government. I hope to be home with my family to vote. And we do believe that come September 21st,
Of a technical glitch there. I hope
the
we
best
can,
candidate will emerge.
All right. Thank you,
So
Dr. Joe Aligbe, for your time. Truly appreciate your contributions to the program. Comrade, final thoughts on Edo 2024.
Edo is a great state, a state that is present globally. Edo State is a state that is present globally. And by that, I mean our people are everywhere. The degree of political awareness is very high here amongst our people. But there's a major hitch that I want to talk about this morning. Our political parties are busy canvassing for votes. And I want to advise them to include it in their itinerary, the need for voters to be mobilized, collect your PVC, come out and vote. Because when you spend all the billions campaigning here and there, and you are told the population of voters that came out is about 30 or 40, it's a failure. So the political awareness that we think we are in has to be increased. Get these people out. How do you get them out? Move with the religious organizations. Move with our traditional leaders. Move with the schools. Move with all institutions that are stakeholders in this. The imam on Friday, all over the state in our mosques, will encourage the Muslim registered voters to turn up and vote for candidates of their choice. The Christian pastor, the clergy, the priest that is in the altar, in all the masses, in all the services, should teach and talk about this. Not just talking about it. Come out and vote. Shun bribery. Don't sell your vote. These are agents of mobilization.
Yeah.
Let's get these people together. All the political parties, government, get them together. Wake them up and let them bring the political consciousness to their members and their community, through their community leaders and all of them. And if you can mobilize all of them, even the political parties should be able to do this. Bring people out.
Okay.
Civil society organizations, go into action. Get people out.
Okay.
But for us in Edo, all those who are contesting are our brothers. We must not kill for any reason. We must not harm ourselves for any reason. God already knows who is the next governor of Edo State. He has given us the ability to move from one place to the other to canvass for our candidates. I will not say no more slinging, because even in the United States,
It's part of
slinging. But let us talk to our people with reason, talk to the issues. And whoever God Almighty, in his infinite choice, has ordained for Edo, shall be.
Okay.
On that day, all voters, go out with your PVC, go and vote for candidates of your choice.
All right.
So
Over 2 million registered voters. I mean, from the latest statistics from the Independent National Electoral Commission as it relates to Edo. And there's a group of people, they call them the undecided voters. We need to decide now because the future of Edo State is at stake. We also need to encourage, if you're yet to collect your PVC, this is time to do that. Please go out, get your PVC, and ensure you participate. If you don't participate, whatever happens in government, you're also part of the problem. That's exactly why we are where we are today in Nigeria.